Align two needles and use them as one when you cast on stitches using the long tail cast on. It would be a bit awkward at first because the needles split, but it's not difficult, and just pretend that you have one needle in your right hand instead of two. Cast on as many stitches as you need for your project or the swatch that you are making, and once you are done, take one of the needles out, leaving the stitches on the other needle. Turn your work and purl all stitches in one row. Simply purl them one by one. If you're working in the round, then don't turn your work and knit all stitches instead of purling them. Because we cast on stitches using two needles instead of one, we have more yarn here in the cast on edge, and we need this yarn to make the strands of the cast on edge longer. And we'll do it by stretching the edge. So this would be the next step. Simply stretch the edge. Pull the fabric sideways to make the strands that form the cast on edge longer. And when you look at the cast on edge, you will see that it forms kind of a braid with one leg of this braid that is right here, like these legs over here. They are closer to the purl side of the work. And these would be the legs that we'll be aiming at in the next step. Turn your work so that the cast on edge is at the top of the needle and the working yarn is at the right side of the work. If you're working in the round, then you will simply rotate the work around the needle. And then insert the tip of the left needle from the bottom up under the strand, that leg that we've just discussed, that is right above this stitch, the first stitch. The first strand is usually bigger and it's clearly visible, so we simply go under that strand, and it helps to use your right hand to actually place that strand on the needle. It is usually much easier. And then knit these two strands together. This is the stitch and this is the strand that we picked up from that cast on braid. Simply knit them together through the front loop as usual. And then move the work again to see the next strand. And in this case, it's going to be this one over here. And then we place it on the left needle, or we insert the tip of the left needle under the strand, which is basically the same thing. However you get the strand on the left needle is totally up to you, but it has to be there. And then we knit these two strands together, the stitch plus the picked up strand. And we do it again and again and again, turning the work, looking for that strand, picking it up with the left needle and knitting it together with the stitch until we get to the last stitch of the row and all the stitches on the needles are knitted together with the strands that belong to them, the strands from the cast on edge. You can see right away that the edge is kind of folded. So basically we made this tiny little fold, and as you work a few more rows or rounds in stockinette stitch, you will notice that the edge looks very nice and delicate, as if it's been kind of hemmed, as if there is this little hem, there is little thickness that does not change the look of stockinette stitch fabric, but it keeps it from curling. To get the full tutorial about this method, go to 10rosday.com/no-curl-cast on. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.